Hello and welcome to a very special Improve Your Grade the 1% Way today. I'll explain why it's a little bit special at the end. Part of the 1% series on how to improve your grade the 1% way, whether it's standards check or whether it's your part 3 test. Rome was never built in a day, and you're not going to get your grades up in a day. You're going to need time to gradually work on it. If you're a PDI, this is what it's all about really. Each week you are improving your skill, improving your grade, point by point, 2 points by 2 points. Nothing's going to happen very, very quickly, and you need to build it up as you get better and better. And the way to do that is to understand exactly what the DVSA with their 17 competencies want. And that's what this course is about. And I'm just explaining the competencies during these videos, explaining them piece by piece, so maybe you can get an understanding of what it is they're looking for in, I suppose, plain English. Today, we're looking at were opportunities and examples used to clarify learning outcomes. So let's move on, let's have a look at it. So what I've been starting to find is if I'm analysing the question itself first of all, so let's understand what the DVSA are looking for. And the question, were opportunities and examples used to clarify the learning outcome? Were opportunities used is really the first thing, and were examples used? They're the key phrases there, and the third key phrase which I pull out of this to clarify the learning outcome. So we're going to deal with each one of these one by one. First of all, were opportunities used? Now this is something I see missed on quite a lot during my time sitting in the back, and the examiners see the thing as well. We see a fault, we see a risk, we see something done, and okay, you know, it's mentioned briefly to the pupil and that, and then later on during the lesson you just think, well, what a shame that you missed all those opportunities to clarify those things. You're just thinking, well, you could have clarified that using X, Y, Z, you know. Do you remember that car pulled out? Well, why didn't you use that as an example to clarify what we did earlier? And I think the problem is that instructors deal with a fault superficially. Oh, you shouldn't have done that, blah, 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 and forget it. They absolutely forget it. And we need to remember that we've got to deal with it. So, you know, where do opportunities come from? Well, they can, you know, you've got to be looking for them. First of all, you've got to be aware. This is what I'm saying. You've got to be aware. I had a little trick that I use personally on my part 3 test, and when I saw a fault I would bend one of my fingers over. I would pull a finger over, and I knew that that was one of the faults that I had to deal with, and at one point I had 3 fingers bent over, 3 fingers in my hand bent over, and I knew which faults they were. That's all I needed was that little prompt. And I would explain about the fault, I would talk about it, I would talk about the, you know, etc. And then, but I would keep it bent over until I fully analysed it, and I fully talked about it, and I thought, yeah, I'm satisfied that's gone away. Yeah, you know, I've got that acknowledgement from my pupil that they understood. And then the one finger would come out, etc. Until eventually, when I got to near the end of the test, I realised I had a completely open hand, and all my fingers were out, and I thought, yeah, I must have done it, you know. And sure enough, I had, you know, I'd gone and passed it. But we need to be looking for them, looking for those opportunities really. And very often, you know, I often think they're handed to you on a plate. The number of times I would try to look at something, I would be talking about a point with a pupil, and all of a sudden something would happen. A cyclist would pop out of nowhere, you know, and we would then demonstrate, or we would talk about the opportunity, we would use it to clarify a learning outcome, and often the pupils afterwards would say, did you know that cyclist was coming, etc. And I used to joke and say, yeah, I pay them. I said, so you got to watch out, you know, because I've paid a few more people to do things on the lesson. And obviously it was a joke, but they used to come out. But I think the difference is, the trick is, you've got to look for them, because you can create opportunities, similar opportunities, out of many, many different things. We can increase our advantage sometimes by changing the route. So remembering changing the route often can help. You can think, right, look, I really need another opportunity to, for example, meet traffic. If I turn left and come, I can change the route or do a little trip around the block, so to speak, and we can actually create opportunities that way. And like I said before, sometimes just luck has its way and they just happen, and those are godsends, or they're just sent from the heavens, and you just think, wow, but you've got to be aware of them, because I tell you, I've been sitting in the back, etc., many times, and I've seen these things and they're just not being used. And I've seen it on many reports as well, where opportunities were missed, etc. And again, I'm going to say it again, above all, look out for them. Just don't miss them. Bend that finger over, or whatever way you're going to do it, but get to that point where you can think to yourself, you can really think, yeah, that pupil knows all the risks, that pupil's there. We've not only done the talk, we've not only done what are the risks, what are the dangers, what, etc., what else. We've not only done that, but we've tried to generate an opportunity, a learning opportunity, to do it. And sometimes you just have to create them. So it's creating an opportunity to actually get that pupil to demonstrate somehow that problem is gone. Examples. Well, sometimes opportunities don't happen, or you need to clarify better or even stronger. This is where you can use examples. Questioning what might happen if, use questioning there, what might happen if, but use other things, what might happen if this happened there. Try and use other examples. I like to use little stories from the past examples. True ones are the best. I remember a situation where blah, blah, blah happened, etc. What would you do here? What do you think would be the risks here? What could be the dangers? What would you have done here? And get them to talk about it. Okay. And again, best of all, think of examples where things might go wrong again. So that's where you get them to think of examples, where they might think of it wrong, and get them to look out for examples where the similar situations are. And use all three if needed. Use examples, use stories, use questioning, etc. Use all three, but make sure you can say to yourself, yeah, that risk is covered. That's completely, not just superficial lip service, not just yeah, don't do that again. You know what you're doing here. I mean, it's one of the most common things. I've probably repeated it 100 times in these videos. The times that I hear an instructor go, oh, you don't normally do that. You know what to do there. And then that's it. Or the other one is, we'll deal with that next lesson. The examiner's not going to be in your car on your next lesson to see it fixed, to see it dealt with. The examiner on a Part 3 test and a standards check is in the car now. And the same way for your pupil, they need it dealt with now. You don't want them going to bed on a problem, worrying about it or thinking about it. You need them to leave that lesson knowing it was positive and those problems are sorted. The second bit, or the third bit really, is to clarify the learning outcome. Well, clarifying is really validating the risks, about what would be a better way. So you're clarifying it. So you're consolidating with the pupil that they know fully and they understand what risks are. So they're you're getting that feedback from them that they're going, yes, and they fully do understand it. Look at their body language, listen to the words they're using, see if they're fully understanding. And here it is again, change the plan as needed. All right, this one keeps coming up. If you need to change the plan, then do it. If that's a way of clarifying the point, don't be afraid to change the plan a little to clarify it and get a point sorted. Many instructors, I keep saying it, this lip service, we want to move away from that. As with any fault or risk, really drill it down. Keep drilling it down. Okay, what were the risks? What were there? Okay, let's look at some examples here. Let's gain that understanding. Let's gain that clarification, that agreement that they fully understood what went wrong and how to change the problem. Okay, now, hopefully you've got some of that, and that's what your homework is for this week, is to look at how you are looking at outcomes and looking at ways to clarify risks, looking at opportunities and looking at things like this, etc. So you can get them sorted. That's what you're going to be doing this week. I say it is looking at opportunities and things and getting them to understand what the problems are, and that's really your work here. And this is a big win really, because this is an easy one to gain some extra points. Now, as I said, this is a bit of a special one really, because before we go, I'm going to introduce something that I'm going to go. Now, this is the first time I've ever mentioned this fully, really, anywhere, etc. Many of you know that I wrote one of the most successful driving instructors planners out there. I've also wrote the 31 lesson plans and many other products that we've sold thousands and thousands of. I mean, you know, I never realized how successful they would be. They are all my products are written with the DVSA in one hand, and I'm writing with the DVSA standards and the DVSA way, etc. So this helps you. They're written from the proper pedagogy, which is a science for learning. You know, remember, this is my specialist thing. I'm a master's degree in education. I'm a fully qualified classroom teacher, and all sorts of a couple of postgraduate degrees and things like this. And things like this, I've done this so you don't have to really. So, you know, you don't have to go there. But the first thing is, I have wrote these manuals in a way that make them easy for people to understand. And whilst they are written for the learner in a sense, my main priority with all my products is to make sure that you guys got the material to help you get better Part 3 grades, to get you better standards check, to become better instructors. You know, I often say they're not the, you know, they may not have the fantastic 3D graphics, they may not be all singing, all dancing with the graphics, but they're certainly more than enough for the learner. But the object with my books is about that page on the left, the page which helps you structure and plan your lessons so you're getting things right. You know, many examiners have commented on the books and shown how you can see how instructors keep on track and keep their lessons going with them, etc. So, and some of you may know, I do the occasional training course, etc. I might be coming down to Southampton to do one soon, etc. But I don't know how many people know I wrote a manual for the complete guide to instructor training. There is one out there. They've sold a few, etc. out there. And what we do with the instructor training manual is there's a training manual which you can do literally lesson by lesson. There's a page for each lesson that you can teach a trainee to become a driving instructor. And what we do as a school is there's also something called a pupil pack. And the pupil pack means we would sell them to the PDI. It's a PDI pack, trainee pack really, which includes all their Part 1 theory and all the theory side of the instructor training. Now, all the theory side can go against their training as well, against their 40 hours. In fact, if a PDI or a trainee does a complete course with us, they're probably going to cover well over 110, maybe 120 hours. So a little more than the 40 that is accepted. It is, you know, normal talked about. And we've got quite a few PDIs going through that system for various driving instructors up and down the country who've bought the manual, and we look after their PDIs and we look after them through their course. But I decided to take that one stage further, okay? And what I've done, I'm launching a brand new product very, very soon. I've been working on it hard for months. And that is an instructor training course. So basically what's going to happen is the manual is still the manual, it still comes with the package, it still comes with all the support, but it's also going to come with a 18 video, probably more, it's more than 18 videos actually. There's an 18 video covering all the aspects of how to become an instructor trainer and what to do and how to use the workbook. So not just the workbook, you're getting the videos from me explaining how to use each system and how they work. You get the complete workbook as you would do before. You get a copy of the pupil's reflective log, etc., and the opportunity to purchase more if you've got, you know, when you get your trainees coming through you, and the opportunity for us to look after your trainees for you and you as well. But it also comes with quizzes to validate the information so you understand if learning is taking place. They also come with this complete series as well. There's a complete series of 17, 18 videos in this section alone, which is the 1% series. So you've got 2 lots of 18 videos in there. There is also the ability to become, and this is something we're working on, DTE-Elite registered trainer with the possibility to trainers and standard checks for. I do regular on Wednesdays classroom training, online training sessions where PDIs all over the country and people looking for a standards check come all over the country, come on and check in and ask questions of me. And very often they come up and they say to me, oh, I really could do with another trainer, some trainer to do it. Now, if I know that one of you guys live on, for example, I don't know, Essex, you know, and there's a guy in Essex and you have completed the course, so I know that you are doing things properly, well, I've got no problem in recommending you. So I would literally use it and say, look, I got one of my registered trainers, and then again, the name and address will be sent across, so all your contact details will be swapped. And I would be confident then knowing that you guys are doing it properly. There is a section in there on standards check training, etc. There's all sorts, there's bonus sections as well. There's a section on the trouble with PDIs, as I say, or the trouble with trainees, and that's all the other problems that you would get. There's, I'm only skimming the surface here. There's all sorts of things there that I thought would help. Let's say this is the very first time I've mentioned it. I've not mentioned it before. Currently, the course is being tested by a few instructors. It will be the instructor training course, and that there comes with a complete bonus system as well, bonus schemes. The bonus section are some of the things which are the tricks that I have used that have got me such a high pass rate. Some of the core competencies, the grow models, and things like that. So that's a really bonus in itself, but I'm not going to keep offering that. I'm only going to offer that to the, you know, for the first few courses that we sell. So basically, if you're looking to get instructor training, this is your chance without spending thousands of pounds. I did a really research into some of these courses that are out there on trainer courses, and oh my lord, aren't they expensive? This isn't going to be cheap, but it is going to be a lot cheaper than the courses out there. Anyway, this is just to raise it. I'm hoping some of you are now thinking you might be interested. Hopefully just watch this space or message me if you are interested, because this is coming very, very soon now. I'm just putting the last bits to it together and making the changes where some of the instructors have suggested changes. You guys have a fantastic week teaching this week. You know what your homework is, and I'll speak to you soon then. Bye for now.